Swaha. Om Tatsaviturvaraniyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimai Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Om Bhurbhuvah Swaha. Om Tatsaviturvaraniyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonah Prachodayat.
Good evening, namaste, and welcome, my dear friends, to this new course on Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. You're all welcome, and let us invoke the presence of God and the Gurus so that we can seek their blessings to open our hearts and minds and ready us for this deep study of yoga. Let us pray together. Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, friend, beloved God, Jesus Christ, Babaji Krishna, Lahiri Mahashay, Swami Sri Yukteswar Ji, beloved Gurudev Paramhansa Yogananda Ji, saints and sages of all religions, humbly we bow at thy feet. We also bow in reverence to the sage Ved Vyas, the sage Patanjali, and the sage Adi Shankaracharya. O Lord, O great ones, we seek thy blessings. We offer the flowers of our devotion at thy holy feet of omnipresence. Receive us. We are thy children. Bring us home. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Let us now sing the hymn to Brahma and invoke the Gurus. Let's take a moment of silence. Let's gaze upwards, keeping the spine straight, the rest of the body relaxed. A smile on the face, a smile in the heart. Gazing upwards. Let's listen to these thoughts by Swami Kriyananda on calmness. Calmness is perfectly achieved when life's little wave becomes absorbed into the cosmic sea, in divine ecstasy. In daily life too, we can achieve calmness to a degree by keeping our awareness focused on the reality of the spirit underlying all outward circumstances. Calmness comes with the determination to live ever happily in the present moment, relinquishing the past and not worrying about the future, but placing our lives firmly in God's hands and knowing that He is fully in command. Calmness comes with non-attachment, with knowing that nothing in this world is truly ours. Let us do this following affirmation. Though the winds of difficulties howl around me, I stand forever calmly at the center of life's storms. Though the winds of difficulties howl around me, I stand forever calmly at the center of life's storms. Though the winds of difficulties howl around me, I stand forever calmly at the center of life's storms. I stand forever calmly at the center of life's storms. Mentally follow this prayer. With Thee beside me, O Lord, I know that the tides of trouble can never sweep me away. Hold fast my hand, Lord, never let me go. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Namaste, dear friends. A very good evening and Jai Guru to everybody. And thanks for joining me on this new adventure from today. And this new adventure is going to take us into very deep seas. In fact, the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali are a technology that the sages have offered, a technology which helps us to know how our mind works and a technology to know how to control the workings of the mind. So this is not a religious offering. It's a very, very secular teaching. Anybody who practices these teachings, who understands them, can go into the depth of their own soul, into the self. And of course, self-realization is the goal of all these teachings. Before we actually start with the series of the verses, the sutras, I'll give some background of who wrote them and how they were organized and what is the significance of various sages in the background of Yoga Sutras. So of course we know and we've heard that they are Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, but Patanjali was a sage. We'll go to his date, but he mainly organized the sutras. The Yoga Sutras ever existed. So basically, as old yoga is, that's how old the sutras are. So, but when people come, they reorganize things, and Patanjali did it in such a beautiful way that it became a proper science, a science that is now available in Dwapar Yuga for everybody. So the first commentary was written by Vyasa, and we know Vyasa wrote the Mahabharata. He organized the Vedas. He also wrote the Puranas and so many other literature. And the commentary by Vyasa is called Yoga Bhashya. So Bhashya is supposed to be a commentary. And there are a total of 195 to 196 sutras in the whole work. And it is interesting, as I was researching more about Vyasa and his work, it is said that Vyasa is one of the 8 immortals, जिनको चिरंजीवी बोलते हैं. तो वो 8 चिरंजीवियों में से एक माने जाते हैं. That means he is very much alive at the moment, and anybody who wants to tune into the consciousness of Vyasa, just like Master did when he wrote his commentaries on the Gita. So if you want, you can tune into his consciousness and actually direct download his thought process. If we can attune ourselves to that heights, I think we'll kind of be free immediately. Anyway, so again, just for interest, who are the 8 Chiranjeevis? We know who are the 8 Chiranjeevis. We'll just revise. So one we know is Vyasa, we just heard. The other is Hanumanji. हनुमान को सीता माता ने चिरंजीवी होने का आशीर्वाद दिया था. Then Parshuram. Now Parshuram is one of the avatars of Vishnu, and he is supposed to be the master of martial arts, and he has all the knowledge of all the astras and shastras. So it is said that when the Kalki avatar will descend onto earth, then Parshuram will actually train the Kalki avatar to be victorious in dharma, or whatever will be the battle or need of that day. Then the other immortals are, one is Vibhishan. And I had read it earlier, and rereading the whole thing, it said that Vibhishan is supposed to be immortal till this kind of kalpa. So we have heard of the yugas, then there are manvantras, then there are kalpas, and the Hindu Puranas are very, very detailed about the lengths of time of different periods. So it is said for this present kalpa, Vibhishana is going to be immortal. Then is Ashwathama. Ashwathama was kind of blessed and cursed at the same time by Krishna that he will be immortal. But the curse was that he can neither communicate and nor touch anything of the physical world. And in a esoteric sense, in Master's commentary of the Gita, Master said that Ashwathama represents latent desire. So we know that Duryodhan represents material desire when you are in a physical body and you are in the material world. But in the subtler aspects, there is something called latent desire, and when actually this will sprout, so this will eventually convert into desire when the seed is there. So when another cycle of Brahma begins, so another day of Brahma begins, then of course the whole story has to start again. Again, there has to be material desire. So Ashwathama is that latent desire which will later sprout into a new cycle, and then again the problem of desire will arise for people to fight it out and get free from it. Then another immortal or Chiranjeevi is Mahabali. Now we saw that Kerala people celebrated Onam, and Onam is celebrated because जो असुर के राजा थे Mahabali, जो कि actually प्रहलाद के grandchild थे. So he became very, very powerful, and he did very good works also. He was a very good king, but somewhere pride came in, and then the Vishnu had to come in his Vaman avatar, and with 3 steps he kind of just took hold of everything. And Mahabali was sent to Patal Lok, it is said, but it is said that on the day of Onam, that the king comes out of his place and he comes to visit his territory, which is supposed to be the Kerala region. And therefore the people who were they actually celebrated, they kind of welcome him, and they celebrate, they are happy that the king who took good care of them is back to visit them. And then there is Kripa. Kripa is supposed to be in the story of the Mahabharata. Kripa is the royal guru of the all the princes of the Kauravas and the Pandavas. And he was granted this blessing of immortality because it is said that he was such a fair and just and loving teacher that he treated all his students and disciples as his own children. And for that, he was granted, the blessing of being a Chiranjeevi. And then we know of Markandeya. Markandeya, if you've heard the story, he was the son of a kind of Brahmin parents. So there was this Brahmin couple who did not have a child. And they prayed and they prayed. So God appeared to them, and he said, okay, you ask for a boon, but you have two choices. You either get a child who is very intelligent, very sharp, very good looking, but he lives only for 16 years, or you get a child who is like just an ordinary, a dumb person, or so and so. So he asked the parents, what do you want? So the parents said, we want to give birth to a child who is smart, who is intelligent, who's a bhakta, and we don't mind even if he lives for 16 years. So when this child was born, because the parents were Brahmin, they inculcated Shiva Bhakti into this child. And the child was so much of a Shiva Bhakta that he used to keep holding on the Shivling all the time. So by the time fled very quickly, and 16 years just passed by. And after 16 years, when Lord Yama came to get this child, he was again hugging the Shivling and he was praying to Lord Shiva. So Yama had no power over him. And so Yama went to Lord Shiva and he said, such and such is the case, that he was given a life of only 16 years, but he is holding on to you. How can I take him? So Shiva said, you don't bother with him. His 16 years are not 16 earthly years. They are 16 years of ages of Brahma. So again, that is why Markandeya became immortal. And he wrote the whole Markandeya Puran, in which basically there's a conversation of this sage with another sage named Jaimini. Now and of course, the other immortals that we know in our own line of gurus is Mahavatar Babaji. And we've also heard of Rishi Agastya, who is supposed to be immortal. And coming to the truth, now let us not think that, oh my God, these are such great sages and they are immortal. Let's take a pause and see, who are we? In our true sense, in our Atmic self, we are all immortal. We appear to have been born through these bodies, and we may appear to leave these bodies, but we will continue to exist. We are immortal, and that is our true nature. And this is the very reason why we have picked up the study of the Yoga Sutras, so that we can, in all its simplicity, straightforwardness, and understand clearly that we are immortal. And only what we are going through now is just a role play, and the body is actually a garment that we pick up and we leave. But for the time being that we are living through the bodies, and we do feel that we are bonded to this existence, then Patanjali gives the scientific steps as to what to do. That you are using this body-mind instrument, how can you best use it so that you can uplift your consciousness and rise above body consciousness and become free even while living in a body. So this is very, very important to understand that we are immortal and nobody can change that truth. Okay. Now, a little talk about Patanjali, because he is the one main person who organized his time period was considered to be, it's vague. Some say it is between 200 BC to 400 AD. So somewhere between that time was his birth and death of the body. And his main purpose was reorganizing the Yoga Sutras. And besides this, he did two very, very important works. His main work, in fact, is considered as the Mahabhashya, which is the treatise on Sanskrit grammar. It is said you can spend a whole lifetime studying that work by Patanjali. It is so much in detail that one lifetime may not be enough to understand Sanskrit as clearly as Patanjali has explained in that Bhashya. And interestingly, Patanjali is also the author of a medical text based on Sushruta's teachings and other Ayurvedic teachings. After Patanjali, then comes Adi Shankaracharya. Adi Shankaracharya is another very, very important name in reorganization of the Shastras, the Puranas, the Yoga Sutras, and all of that. And of course, he's the origin of the Swami order. All the orders that exist today, there are 10 or Swami orders like Giri, like Aranya, like Saraswati. All these orders are supposed to have begun by Adi Shankaracharya. And we know Adi Shankaracharya traveled the entire country. It was he who actually defined the 4 main dhams for the Hindus. Like in the north, we have Badrinath, then in the east we have our Jagannath Puri, in the west we have Dwarkadhish, and in the south there is Rameshwaram. So it was he who defined these 4 dhams. It was he who made all the mats, and it was he who organized a lot of commentaries on the Gita and the Yoga Bhashya. In fact, he wrote a commentary based on the commentary by Ved Vyasa. So it's good to know all these things. And therefore, in many ashrams, when people study Yoga Sutras, there is a Sanskrit verse in which they actually bow to these 3 great sages before they begin the study of Yoga Sutras. Okay. So important thing is, what is a sutra and why this was written in sutras? So there was a time when written language was not very well developed, and all the knowledge was transferred through audio, as in learning, repeating, memorizing, contemplating, and so on. In the ashrams, this is how it went. So it was given in small statements, which people used to remember. And it was like a thread which gave a meaning. So to understand what a sutra means, the definition is given in Vayu Puran. It says, now all of us have known Hindi, know Hindi, so इसमें हमें समझने में आसानी होगी. हमें बहुत ज़्यादा बेनिफिट है कि हमने हिंदी पढ़ी हुई है, क्योंकि आगे जब हम संस्कृत के श्लोक पढ़ेंगे तो उसमें से हम कुछ शब्द उठा सकेंगे और कुछ शब्दों का हम सीधा समझ पाएंगे. Now, amazing is Swamiji's commentary that in spite of not having known the Hindi and the Sanskrit languages in detail, he has picked up the essence of the sutras so beautifully that, as we go through the study, you will find that not only has he given the essence, but he has simplified it so much that it is available to all international community at the present. The book Demystifying Patanjali makes the Yoga Sutras available to an international audience, which was less easier earlier. Okay, so what is a sutra? Alpaksharam asandigdham shashvat vishwomukham astobham anvadayam cha sutram sutra vido vidu. Iska kya arth hai? A sutra is a very brief statement leaving no room for doubt, without repetition, and expressing a comprehensive idea. This means every word of the sutra is important. It is not repeated, it is complete in its meaning, and there is no room for doubt. So therefore, as we study these sutras, as we go deeper and deeper, it is important that we unfold and we kind of unlock the secret hidden in every word. And therefore, we will kind of combine the commentaries of Swami Kriyananda and Swami Vivekananda, a little bit from Vedavyasa's commentary. Also, I have tried to combine. So we begin with the first verse, and actually the book Patanjali divided the chapters into 4 parts. The first part is Samadhi Pad. The second is Sadhana Pad. The third is Vibhuti Pad. And the fourth is Kaivalya Pad. So Kaivalya, of course, we know is realization, it's oneness, it's nirvana. So all the first 3 will eventually lead you to the 4th, and automatically by that time, Patanjali would have explained how to achieve self-realization. And this brings us to the first sutra of the first chapter, which is Samadhi Pad. And the first sutra says, Atha Yoga Anushasanam. Atha means now, Yoga we understand, and Anushasan is discipline. So, and now the discipline of yoga, or Swamiji says, the subject now being offered is yoga. अब ये जो अथ है, now है, इसके कई सारे meanings हैं. So let's go one by one. So Swamiji first says that now suggests there has been another dissertation before this. So before the study of yoga begins, another dissertation has been given. And of course, we know that before yoga comes the philosophy of Sankhya. And even in the Bhagavad Gita, the three philosophies of Sankhya, Yoga, Vedanta have been dealt with. So it is thought that a person will begin the study of yoga once he has to an extent understood the philosophy of Sankhya. The purpose of Sankhya, the first of the philosophies, was to persuade people of the uselessness of seeking fulfillment through the physical senses, since our physical bodies are not our true self. So basically Sankhya philosophy में बहुत clearly बताया गया है कि ये पुरुषा है और ये प्रकृति है, और ये आपको समझाने की कोशिश की गई है कि जब आप प्रकृति में ही रहते रहते हैं और ये भूल जाते हैं कि आप पुरुषा हैं, तो आप कैसे इंटेंगल हो जाते हैं माया में, और जब जैसे ही आप रियलाइज कर लेते हैं कि आप प्रकृति नहीं पुरुषा हैं, मींस यू आर द सेल्फ एंड नॉट द बॉडी, then you can be free. So this is how Sankhya kind of orients you. All the three philosophies are in fact aspects of the same truth. Sankhya offers the why of the spiritual search. So Sankhya हमें बताती है कि आप पुरुष हो, आप प्रकृति में फंस गए हो, आपको निकलना है. So why of the spiritual path. Then yoga will tell you how to move out. तो कैसे निकलें इस फंसे हुए सिचुएशन से, इस बॉन्डेज से हम बाहर कैसे निकलें. And third is Vedanta, which tells you what is the goal. So what will happen once by the practice of yoga, you go where do you go? What is the final goal? What do you realize when the entire study finishes? So in other words, Swamiji says, you have to understand why is it important to renounce attachment to the world. तो ये प्रश्न हम अपने आप से पूछेंगे कि हम कह देते हैं कि हाँ हमें नॉन अटैचमेंट बना करना है, हमें रिनाउंस करना है, तो हम ये प्रश्न अपने आप से पूछेंगे कि क्यों हमें ये दुनिया को रिनाउंस करना है. सेकंड, हाउ कैन वी डायरेक्ट आवर एनर्जी टुवर्ड्स द अपवर्ड हाइट्स. थर्ड, what to expect once our energy and consciousness have become one pointedly directed upward. If you really want to understand Patanjali's yoga aphorisms, you must be ready to ponder at least a little the underlying truths of Sankhya philosophy. The oft-quoted aphorism of Sankhya, Ishwar asiddha, means God is not proved, is an invitation to go beyond the intellect and realize truth intuitionally on a superconscious level. So this is what Swamiji says, that now means that something else has happened before, and now we begin the study of yoga. Now another aspect of this atha, means now we begin, is also means that now, after having roamed in samsara and after having undergone all the suffering that we have, and nobody has to tell us what suffering, why suffering, so we have already been through all those things, we have come to the point of agonizing monotony. That's what Yogananda ji said. He said, this life is going to become agonizingly monotonous. Isn't it? Aren't we following the same routine over and over and over and over again without even thinking? It has become such a reflex thing in our life that we've stopped even thinking why we are doing what we are doing. But we have come to the point where we have realized to an extent that there is suffering in the world. As Buddha said, dukham dukham sarvam dukham. And we have come to this point that there is something available, a door is available through which we can actually transcend this suffering. So now we are ready to hear the truth about the path that will free us. So this is the second aspect of understanding the now. Let us also understand the third aspect. Okay, just give me a moment. Yeah, so, and also I read that atha is an auspicious word. So sometimes when you begin a book or when you begin a shloka, you just begin by atha. So that is another thing. But it also means that our attention is being called to the present moment. So हमारा दिमाग जो है वो कम से कम 1000 डायरेक्शन में स्कैटर हुआ रहता है. तो यदि हमने योगा स्टडी करनी है now, that means the first thing we need to do is that we bring all our attention and energy into the present moment. not. So this is that's why this study is so relevant to us today. So Patanjali said now, so that now is an eternal now. Every moment it becomes a now. So इसका मतलब ये है कि जो योग सूत्र की टीचिंग है वो कभी एंशिएंट पास्ट के लिए नहीं थी या वो इंडेफिनिट फ्यूचर के लिए नहीं है, वो हर पर्सन के लिए है जो इस मोमेंट में आके कह सकता है ओके नाउ आई बिगिन द स्टडी. Okay, so that is so important that we bring ourselves to the present, and it is only that we can work with the present moment. We have no power over the past and the future, and Patanjali easily clarifies this, that you better come now, and now we can start. Atha makes yoga a living teaching, not something archaic that was studied by ancients at some point in history. It is but an invitation to be here now. Yoga is an esoteric, secret, occult science, which means that it does not reveal itself at first glance. So we must know कि एक गो में आप पढ़ लेंगे सूत्र तो हो सकता है कुछ भी ना समझ आए, कुछ ऊपर से निकल जाएगा, राइट और लेफ्ट से निकल जाएगा. तो हर अगर आप इस मोमेंट पे फुली प्रेजेंट हैं, और इसमें फुली प्रेजेंट होने का मतलब सिर्फ इंटेलेक्चुअली प्रेजेंट नहीं होता है, इसका मतलब हमें अपना हार्ट भी ओपन रखना है ताकि हम इंट्यूटिवली समझ सकें जो ये ग्रेट सेजेस कहना चाह रहे हैं. और मास्टर हमें ये क्लियरली पहले ही बता चुके हैं कि जो स्क्रिप्चरल नॉलेज है वो इंट्यूशनली गेन की जाती है, इंटेलेक्चुअली नहीं गेन की जाती है. सो दैट इज अगेन टेलिंग यू दैट बी इन द नाउ. Forget your emotions, forget the other restless thoughts, forget the duties that you have, just be in this moment and then proceed. It will take the most astute student, one who is disciplined and focused, one with a sense of adventure, to be able to immerse themselves into the mysteries of the Yoga Sutras. So guys, are you ready to be focused, with a sense of adventure, and to move on and to explore? Okay, so this brings us to the second verse of Samadhipad, and this we have heard, it's a famous one. It says Yogas Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Yoga is the neutralization of the vortices of feeling. Now वृत्ति, व्हाट इज वृत्ति? वृत्ति का लिटरल मीनिंग है वर्लपूल, या कुछ लोग उसको वेव भी कहते हैं, कुछ लोग सिंपल फ्लक्चुएशन कहते हैं, और कुछ लोग मॉडिफिकेशन कहते हैं. ठीक है, और ये वृत्तिज हमने योगा एनाटॉमी में पढ़ा है कि ये वृत्तिज जो हैं वो हमारी स्पाइन के अलोंग या हमारे ब्रेन के ग्रूव्स में सेटल हो जाती हैं. ग्रॉस डिजायर्स हैव देयर सेंटर in the lower chakras. Spiritually uplifting impulses are centered in the higher chakras. So हर मूवमेंट एक वृत्ति है, चाहे वो एक आपको अच्छी डायरेक्शन में लेकर जा रही है या आपको बुरी डायरेक्शन में लेकर जा रही है, वो वृत्ति तो है ही. यानी कि जब आप ज्ञान योगा के लिए आप कुछ पढ़ने, सेल्फ स्टडी ऑफ द सेल्फ करते हैं या सेल्फ स्टडी करते हैं, तो वो भी एक वृत्ति है, एक मूवमेंट है आपकी कॉन्शियसनेस में जो आपको अपवर्ड्स लेके जाती है, but still it is a vritti itself. And then there are other vrittis, that means something like a desire for a material object or attachment to material things or being fearful or all the emotions. These are also vrittis, but these vrittis are going to take you downwards. So ये माया है जिसमें जो चीजें आपको जैसे कि नॉलेज, विजडम, काइंडनेस, कंपैशन, ये क्वालिटीज जो है ये आपको अपवर्ड्स लेके जाती हैं, इनको बोलते हैं विद्या माया. और जो चीजें आपको और अविद्या और अस्मिता और बॉन्डेज में डालती हैं उनको बोलते हैं अविद्या माया. तो है ये सारा माया का ही खेल. तो जब ज्ञान योग, कर्म योग, भक्ति योग से भी आप यू आर प्लेइंग विद दोस थिंग्स, इवन दैट इज पार्ट ऑफ माया, बिकॉज द ट्रू सेल्फ, द आत्मन, इज बियॉन्ड all movement. It is that absolute stillness and absolute सच्चिदानंद. So अगर हम अपने माइंड को एक लेक की तरह इमेजिन करें, एक हमारी कॉन्शियसनेस जो है वो एक लेक, स्टिल लेक की तरह है. इट्स अ स्टिल वाटर. इफ यू थ्रो अ स्टोन इन दैट वाटर, रिपल्स आर क्रिएटेड. ओके, सो सिमिलरली व्हेन अ थॉट अराइजेस इन अस, अब थॉट कैसे अराइज करती है, इसके लिए हमारे को सारा ये जो मेंटल इंस्ट्रूमेंट दिया गया है जिसमें मन, बुद्धि, अहंकार, चित्त सब कुछ है, और हमने पहले पढ़ा हुआ है कि जो मन है वो एक परसीवर है, वो सेंसेस का डेटा परसीव करता है, उसको एनालाइज नहीं करता। एनालाइज कौन करता है? बुद्धि। बुद्धि उसको एनालाइज करती है। फिर अहंकारा जो है वो आईनेस की फीलिंग बीच में लाता है, और जो चित्ता है वो उसमें फीलिंग्स ऑफ अटैचमेंट एंड इमोशंस लेकर आता है। एंड स्वामी जी हमेशा ये एग्जांपल देते हैं जो कि बहुत क्लैरिफाई करता है इन चीजों को, कि सपोज देयर इज अ हॉर्स एंड यू आर लुकिंग एट द हॉर्स, सो your mind is just through the power of your vision, you are actually seeing that there is a horse, but it is your buddhi which actually labels that this is a horse, and then you say I own this horse is mine, and then comes the feeling this horse is beautiful, I love this horse, I will not allow anybody to have it. So जहां तक मन और बुद्धि रहते हैं वहां तक बॉन्डेज इतना नहीं रहता, लेकिन जहां अहंकार आ जाता है और जहां इमोशंस आ जाती हैं वहां हम बॉन्डेज में फंसते जाते हैं। और इनफैक्ट मास्टर ने इतना तक बताया हुआ है कि इन सबके लिए फिजिकल सेंटर्स हैं। ही सेड द सेंटर फॉर माइंड और मन इज द क्राउन चक्रा, the center of buddhi is the agya chakra, the point between the eyebrows. The center for ahamkara is medulla, and the center for chitta is the heart chakra. So we should be aware of all these things before we proceed to further study. और वृत्तिज के लिए again to understand them further, सिर्फ हमारी आईज जो हैं वो वृत्ति नहीं प्रोड्यूस करती हैं। सो सबसे पहले एक ऑब्जेक्ट होता है हमारे सामने, लेट अस से देयर इज अ बुक, so the book is the object, light falls on the book, it gets reflected into our eyeballs, into the retina, from there electrical impulses go into the brain, into the physical brain, but actually you can say esoterically the mind receives that signal, and then it creates a picture and a movement of consciousness happens, a movement of awareness happens, and that is a vritti. So any movement of the still lake of your mind is a vritti. और आपने मान सरोवर नाम सुना ही है, मान सरोवर को लेक माना जाता है, तो एक्चुअली उसका मतलब है मन का सरोवर, the lake of the mind. And when एक generalized statement mind use होता है तो बेसिकली ये सारे अंतःकरण को generalize करता है, यानी कि मन, बुद्धि, अहंकार, चित्त को इकट्ठे शॉर्ट में माइंड कह दिया जाता है. So all of our consciousness, which includes these four things, is like a still lake, and any sensation and then sensation से associated I-ness और उस I-ness से associated emotion, ये सारे वृत्तिज क्रिएट करते हैं, मूवमेंट क्रिएट करते हैं. और जब ये मूवमेंट रिपीटेड हो जाती है तो ये एक, जिसको हम हैबिट टेंडेंसीज कहते हैं, तो ये संस्कारास बन जाते हैं. और जब संस्कारास बार बार वृत्ति जो है वो स्ट्रांग होती जाती है तो वो वासनाज में कन्वर्ट हो जाती है, वो हमारे एटीट्यूड बन जाती है, एंड वो सटल बॉडी में स्टोर हो के बर्थ आफ्टर बर्थ, जब तक हम उनको निगेट नहीं कर पाते, जब तक उन वृत्तियों को हम शांत नहीं कर पाते और वापस उस स्टिलनेस ऑफ द लेक में नहीं आ पाते, तब तक हमारा जो है समाधि स्टेट या रियलाइजेशन स्टेट पॉसिबल नहीं हो पाता. ओके, टू रिस्ट्रेन द वृत्तिज and to check the outward tendency, to start on the return journey towards stillness is the first step in yoga. We cannot see the bottom of a lake because its surface is covered with ripples. It is only possible when the ripples have subsided and the water is calm for us to catch a glimpse of the bottom. If the water is muddy or agitated, the bottom will not be seen. If the water is clear and there are no waves, we shall be able to see the bottom. Now that bottom of the lake which is being talked about is our own true self. The lake is the chitta and the waves or whirlpools are the vrittis. The natural pure state of the mind stuff is calmness and serenity. That means when the wave ceases and the water becomes clear. But the senses and the object outside, they have tend to draw us out. So importance of Kriya Yoga comes in here. Is it easy to calm the vrittis? Is it easy to get rid of desires and attachments and emotions? No. Then that is why the gurus know that it is not easy. Therefore, they have given us a key, a technique, a tool that will help by controlling the prana to control the mind. And slowly, as we practice Hongsa, as we do our Kriya technique, we find that the lake of the mind starts to become still, that the muddiness of the water of our consciousness, it starts to reduce, it starts to settle down. So by the practice of Kriya Yoga and the practice of the stillness, after the practice of the meditation technique, that is the time that we can actually see the bottom of the lake. That means we can feel the continuity of our Atmic self with the universal self. Only when my personal I-ness disappears by the practice of Kriya Yoga and I'm able to perceive the continuity of myself as in my Atman, my consciousness with the consciousness of the universe, then you are able to see the bottom of the lake. So that truth is made perceivable to us by the grace of the Guru and by the practice of the technique of Kriya Yoga. And there are no shortcuts, let me tell you. Okay. Yoga is the neutralization of every one of those vortices. We know that. Kriya Yoga dissolves those vrittis and directs their energy upwards towards the spiritual eye in the forehead. Guruji once said, so Swamiji is telling us about what Yogananda ji said. He said, every desire must be neutralized. Every single desire? Swamiji asked him. Even little desires such as for an ice cream? And what did Guruji said? He said, yes. On another occasion, however, when Swamiji asked Guruji to help him overcome attachment to good food, Master said, don't bother about those little things. When ecstasy comes, everything goes. So there are two sides of the same coin. Every desire that we have needs to be fulfilled. But if the desire is small, it creates a very small vritti. And when we do practice of Kriya Yoga and when we feel ecstatic and we feel the power of God's joy flowing through us, in that flood-like flow of energy, all the small vrittis of the desires that we've had over countless incarnations, not only this incarnation, but previous incarnations as well, because it's such a flood-like flow of energy that all those small vrittis are washed away. So yes, every desire creates a vritti which needs to be fulfilled in one sense, but if you create such a strong flow of energy which flood-like removes all the vrittis together, then as Master said, when ecstasy comes, then everything else will go automatically. This means that the important thing is not to concentrate in a negative way on all the desires and attachments we have to overcome. But the main thing is to focus on giving all our heart's devotion to the Lord. So again, Master has simplified it for us. Swamiji has simplified it for us. अगर हम यही सोचने बैठे रहेंगे कि हमारी हर डिजायर को पूरा होना होगा, फिर तो पता नहीं हमें कितने जन्म लग जाएंगे और तब तक तो शायद मेरी और कोई डिजायर उत्पन्न हो जाएगी. तो अगर हम ऐसा सोचेंगे तो फिर माया में और उलझते जाएंगे. तो वो that is not going to help us. तो माया को हमने कोई संत ऐसे कहते हैं, माया को प्रतिष्ठित मत कीजिए, माया को काटिए, अज्ञान को काटिए, उसको प्रतिष्ठित मत कीजिए. तो इस बारे में बार बार पॉन्डर करने से कि ओ माय गॉड, मेरी इतनी सारी डिजायर्स एंड अटैचमेंट्स हैं, उन सबको पूरा होना होगा, उन सबका क्या होगा, क्या मैं सारा कुछ सही कर रहा हूँ, नहीं कर रहा हूँ, इसको सब सोचने की बजाय सिंपली आप अपने हार्ट्स लव और डिवोशन और अपने माइंड को विद सिंगल पॉइंटेड कंसंट्रेशन आप यूज करें और आप उस हायर एपिक काइंड ऑफ एक एपेक्स की तरफ बढ़ें. एंड डोंट थिंक ऑफ द व्हाट यू हैव लेफ्ट बिहाइंड. नीचे कीचड़ की तरफ देखने की जरूरत नहीं है. आपने कहाँ जाना है, किस दिशा में जाना है, केवल अपना सारा ध्यान, अपनी सारी एनर्जी और अपना सारा लव एंड सिंसियरिटी उसी दिशा में लगाएं. Hold God's hand, hold Guru's hand, and everything else will become very, very easy for you. As a strong river current draws everything along with it, so strong devotion will sweep away every little desire upwards towards the brain. So, in a sense, it can be said that the definition of yoga is the conquest of every desire and every attachment by releasing their energy that it may flow upwards unidirectionally towards God. God is Sachidananda, ever existing, ever conscious, ever new bliss. Divine love is bliss in motion. Chitta is bliss watered down to the level of human feeling. The chitta vrittis are countless little eddies or waves formed by people's expectation of happiness in outwardness. Their desires and attachments are endless. As Yogananda ji put it, desires forever gratified, never satisfied. So we must always remember this statement as well, कि हम जितना भी desire को fulfill करते जाएं, वो कभी भी satisfy नहीं होगी. आपको temporary gratification जरूर मिल सकती है, but ये आपके निरंतर जन्म मरण का कारण जरूर बन सकती है. तो ये बात हमें अपने आप को remind करानी है. ये higher truths की कंपनी में यदि हम रहेंगे तो हम बच जाएंगे बहुत सारी यूजलेस डिजायर्स को accumulate करने से. To go towards the self or our atmic nature, it is imperative that all the vrittis in the chitta be stilled. This is possible only by the practice of yoga. Another little detail about this verse is, we said yogas chitta vritti nirodha. It is said that the mind stuff, there are 5 states in which our mind exists. The first state is the kshipta state, second moodha, third vikshipta, fourth ekagra, and fifth niruddha. So हम इनको एक एक करके समझेंगे. So पहली स्थिति है जिसको कहते हैं क्षिप्त. क्षिप्त का मतलब होता है scattered mind. So अब हम ये we can relate to all of this. हम बहुत सारा टाइम शिफ्ट स्टेट में होते हैं, हमारा माइंड बिल्कुल स्कैटर्ड होता है. This is the most common state of mind during our waking hours. This state is fully dominated by the guna rajas. Here, the mind is totally restless, jumping from one thought to another, from one emotion to the next, and from one object to the next. So, ये स्टडी करने का क्या फायदा है? ये स्टडी करने का ये फायदा है कि एज अ योगी यदि हम अलर्ट और अवेयर रहेंगे कि इस समय हमारा माइंड इस रेस्टलेस स्कैटर्ड स्टेट में है, और इसका मतलब हमें इसको कंट्रोल करने की जरूरत है, क्योंकि हमें इसको निरुद्ध तक लेकर जाना है. और क्योंकि शिफ्ट स्टेट में हम कभी भी सेल्फ रियलाइज नहीं हो सकते, कभी भी योगस चित्त वृत्ति निरोधा अचीव ही नहीं हो सकता, और कोई भी ढंग का कार्य हो ही नहीं सकता. इनफैक्ट विदाउट कॉन्सेंट्रेटेड माइंड कोई भी मटेरियल सक्सेस की तरफ आप सोच भी नहीं सकते. बट इम्पॉर्टेंट फॉर द योगीज इज टू रियलाइज he is aware and alert in every moment that his mind is actually restless. So going here and there, from object to object, from thought to thought, from emotion to emotion, please check yourself. Are you doing this most of the time or not? If you're doing this, we need to change that. Another state of mind that the scriptures explain is the moodha state. Mood is what? Dull, somnolent state. It is dominated by tamas, in which the mind is dull, sleepy, lethargic, and lacks any alertness. In the moodha state, no productive work can be achieved. So, अब हम फिर से एनालाइज करें तो वेकिंग आवर्स के बीच में या तो हम शिफ्ट स्टेट में होते हैं यानी कि रेस्टलेस, या फिर हम मूड स्टेट में होते हैं यानी कि डल एंड बोर्ड एंड स्लीपी एंड लेजी एंड सो ऑन. तो ये दोनों ही स्थितियों में योगा तो भूल ही जाओ आप, इन दोनों स्थितियों में कुछ वर्ल्डली अचीवमेंट भी आप नहीं कर सकते हो. सो बी अलर्ट, बी अवेयर. क्या आप रेस्टलेसनेस की तरफ जा रहे हो या आप तमासिक लेजीनेस की तरफ जा रहे हो? वॉच, कंट्रोल, पॉज and take it towards the higher state. Next comes the vikshipta state. Vikshipta state का मतलब है partially focused state. For example, आप सत्संग के लिए आए या आप गीता क्लास के लिए आए या योगा सूत्र क्लास के लिए आए, तो कुछ समय तक तो आपका माइंड फोकस्ड हो गया, कॉन्सेंट्रेटेड हो गया. और ये बात याद रखने की है कि एक फोकस्ड माइंड जो है वो जॉय देता है. The result of a focused and concentrated mind is the feeling of joy, the experience of joy. तो जब आप क्लास में आ रहे हैं या जब आप मेडिटेट कर रहे हैं या कभी टेंपल में गए हैं, उस टाइम पे तो आप कॉन्सेंट्रेटेड हो जाते हैं और आप एट पीस फील करते हो, जॉयफुल फील करते हो. लेकिन जैसे ही आप वापस अपने नॉर्मल डेली रूटीन में आते हो, वो आपकी स्टेट लूज हो जाती है, स्कैटर होना फिर से शुरू हो जाते हो, तो आप फिर से क्षिप्त या मूड स्टेट में चले जाते हो. सो अगेन वॉच, इज दिस ट्रू? सो व्हाटएवर पतंजलि सेज is going to stand true for each and every one of you. It's for us. It is telling us how our mind works, and we better know how to, manage all of this. Okay. So वापस वही ओल्ड हैबिट पैटर्न्स में हम चले जाते हैं. और विक्षिप्त स्टेट को वापस जो चीजें पुल करती हैं उनको विक्षेप कहते हैं. और आगे जो है विक्षेप के 9 प्रकार होते हैं, वो आगे पतंजलि एक्सप्लेन करेंगे कि क्या क्या कारण है कि आपका फोकस माइंड जो है वापस स्कैटरिंग और रेस्टलेसनेस में चला जाता है. तो इसके कारण आगे वाले सूत्र में आएंगे. जो चौथी स्टेट है दैट इज एकाग्र और वन पॉइंटेड स्टेट. दिस represents what Patanjali calls the sampragyat samadhi. In this state, the mind is fully focused on the object of meditation, and the object becomes fully illuminated. It is realized and known. This is the state which diminishes the kleshas. So kleshas 5 होते हैं, हम ये पहले स्टडी कर चुके हैं योगा गीता में. अस्मिता means I-ness, avidya means अज्ञान, और राग द्वेष अटैचमेंट अवर्जन, और अभिनिवेश मीन्स अटैचमेंट टू बॉडीली एग्जिस्टेंस. तो ये जितने भी क्लेश हैं, जब हम एकाग्र स्थिति में आ जाते हैं, जब हमारा माइंड सिंगल पॉइंटेड कंसंट्रेशन में आ जाता है, तो ये क्लेश कटने लग जाते हैं हमारे जीवन से, ये डिमिनिश हो जाते हैं, इनकी पावर हमारे माइंड के ऊपर खत्म होने लगती है. इट लूजन्स द बॉन्ड्स ऑफ कर्मा एंड ब्रिंग्स वन क्लोजर टू द फाइनल स्टेट ऑफ निरोधा. And that is why Master has given the definition of meditation as single-pointed concentration on God. So unless we achieve single-pointed concentration, जब तक एकाग्र स्थिति नहीं आएगी, तो जब तक सभी कल्प समाधि नहीं आएगी या एकाग्र स्थिति नहीं आएगी, तब तक हम निर्विकल्प या असंप्रज्ञात समाधि तक नहीं जा सकते, पूरे निरुद्ध तक नहीं जा सकते, पूरे सेल्फ रियलाइजेशन तक नहीं जा सकते. तो इसीलिए नेक्स्ट जो ऑब्वियस स्टेट है, जो एकाग्रता के बाद अपने आप आती है, जिस तरह से पतंजलि के अष्टांग योग में हम ध्यान धारणा तक वर्क कर सकते हैं, उसके बाद समाधि अपने आप आती है. इसी तरह जब हम एकाग्र स्थिति में परफेक्शन पा लेते हैं, तो ऑटोमेटिकली निरुद्ध हो जाता है, यानी कि बाकी सारे जो वृत्तिज हैं, बाकी सारी थॉट्स, इमोशंस, फ्लक्चुएशंस सब सेटल हो जाती हैं. In this state, no new samskaras. Now we are in the 5th state, which is the niruddha state, which is fully stabilized in concentration. In this state, no new samskaras or impressions can arise. Even though past impressions still remain, they are made ineffective and can no longer cause any affliction. In the nirodha state, the mind continues to provide its normal functionality. इसका क्या मतलब है? Let me read the next sentence and then we'll come back. However, it is now fully under the control of the yogi, and all the vrittis, fluctuations are under the control of the pure sattvic buddhi, as opposed to being controlled by the ego. When the state of nirodha is attained and sustained for a long time, the mind gets finally dissolved into the state of equilibrium of the gunas, and this leads to kaivalya. इसका क्या मतलब है कि आपने वृत्तिस को शांत कर दिया. तो वृत्तिस को जब शांत कर दिया, तो आप अब इनलाइटेंड, सपोज जो पर्सन इनलाइटेंड है, उसके मन में कोई वृत्ति उत्पन्न नहीं होती है. ऐसा नहीं है, क्योंकि वृत्ति क्या है? एवरी सेंसेशन दैट इज रिसीव्ड फ्रॉम द सेंस ऑब्जेक्ट्स. तो ऐसा है कि एनलाइटमेंट से पहले हमें स्काई ब्लू नजर आएगा और एनलाइटमेंट के बाद स्काई ब्लू नजर नहीं आएगा, ऐसा नहीं है. क्या हमें ओशन की वेव्स पहले नजर आएंगी और एनलाइटमेंट के बाद ओशन की वेव्स नजर नहीं आएंगी? ऐसा नहीं है. क्या आपके जीवन के स्ट्रगल्स जो पहले थे वो सडनली एनलाइटमेंट पाने के बाद खत्म हो जाएंगे? क्या गुरु के जीवन में या अवतारों के जीवन में कोई कष्ट आया ही नहीं कभी? ऐसा नहीं है. तो यानी कि जो आपको जो इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स दिए गए हैं, मन, बुद्धि, अहंकार, चित्ता, वो तो प्रेजेंट रहेंगे एक एनलाइटेंड पर्सन में, वो वर्क भी करेंगे, फंक्शन भी करेंगे, लेकिन वो योगी के अपने कंट्रोल में होंगे. So that is enlightenment. Enlightenment is not a void. Enlightenment is not the absence of everything that you are familiar with right now. It is the complete awareness and knowledge of what is. You will know that you are the Atman, and these are the instruments that you are merely using to live your earthly life, that you are divinity itself who is playing the role of this bodily and personality person. So that would be enlightenment. So निरोध का मतलब ये नहीं कि सडनली सब कुछ गायब हो जाएगा, आप ब्लू स्काई ब्लू ही नजर आएगा, पानी गीला ही महसूस करेगा, आग गर्म ही रहेगी, लेकिन आपका फुल कंट्रोल रहेगा अपनी इमोशंस पे। इन सब चीजों को देखते हुए आपके मन में एक भी वर्लपूल नहीं क्रिएट होगा, कोई भी इमोशन नहीं क्रिएट होगी, विच स्पेशली विच आर यूजलेस इमोशंस, तो आप फुली अपने कंट्रोल में रहेंगे। ये होगा एनलाइटनमेंट का, ये मतलब है कि आप पूरे कंट्रोल में आ जाएंगे, आप अवेक हो जाएंगे, और बाकी जो जीवन की कार्य प्रणाली है वो वैसे ही चलती रहेगी, और आप लेकिन जान जाएंगे कि ये सिर्फ रोल प्ले है। और ये कह रहे हैं कि जब ये सस्टेन हो जाती है स्थिति, जब ये सारी वेव्स जो वृत्ति हैं वो बहुत लंबे समय तक अपने में स्थिर हो जाती हैं या स्थित हो जाती हैं, तो उसी स्टेट को कैवल्य कहते हैं। तो धीरे 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 जो है, अगर हम अपनी प्रैक्टिकल साइड इसको देखें, और जब से हम इस पाथ पे आए हैं हम ये जानते हैं कि धीरे धीरे जो वेव्स हैं हमारी कॉन्शियसनेस की वो चेंज हुई हैं। जैसे कि हमें पहले बहुत जल्दी गुस्सा आ जाता था, या हम बहुत जल्दी रोने लगते थे, हम बहुत जल्दी इरिटेट हो जाते थे, हम बहुत जल्दी जज करते थे। ये वेव्स जो थी बहुत स्ट्रांग थी, अप एंड डाउन लाइफ के बहुत ज्यादा थे। लेकिन जब से हमने क्रिया योग प्रैक्टिस करना शुरू किया, जब से हम गुरु की शरण में आए, एक मेंटली, इमोशनली, फिजिकली, इन दैट सेंस, एवर सिंस वी सरेंडर टू द गुरु, वी फाउंड दैट ये ब्लंटिंग हो गई है इन सब रितीज की। इतनी जल्दी गुस्सा नहीं आता है, हम इतनी जल्दी जज नहीं करते हैं, इतनी जल्दी हम इमोशनल नहीं होते हैं। ये सारे साइंस हैं हमारी स्पिरिचुअल प्रोग्रेस के, ये सारे साइंस हैं जो कि हमें बताते हैं कि जो पतंजलि के योग सूत्र हैं और जितने भी स्क्रिप्चर्स हैं वो हमें सही दिशा में लेकर जा रहे हैं। और जब हम क्रिया योग प्रैक्टिस करते हैं और अपने ही अंदर उस जॉय और पीस का एहसास करते हैं, तो हम जान जाते हैं कि ये स्क्रिप्चर्स हमें सिर्फ ट्रुथ की तरफ ही ले जा रहे हैं। एंड if we simply follow, leave all the complications aside, if we simply follow what the guru has given us by longer, deeper, guru given meditation, comes the celestial samadhi. We must remember that. So all we need to do now, this is a complex study. ये स्टडी अपने आप में अभी वृत्तिस क्रिएट कर रही है हमारे अंदर, इतने सारे थॉट प्रोसेस क्रिएट हो रहे हैं, इतने इमोशंस भी क्रिएट हो रहे हैं, हम वी आर काइंड ऑफ एनालाइजिंग आवरसेल्फ, but these vrittis are going to cancel our negative vrittis. So the vrittis of good habits, the samskaras of listening to the scriptures, the samskaras meditation, they cancel out the negative vrittis and the negative karma that we may have. तो ये हमारा प्रयास है, ये हमारा अभ्यास है कि हम गुरु की शरण में रहते हुए, उनकी टीचिंग्स फॉलो करते हुए, अपने आप को अट्यून करते हुए और क्रिया योग का निरंतर प्रैक्टिस अभ्यास करते हुए हम एक बार में एक ही कदम लें। यदि हमें सूत्र नहीं समझ आता और हमें बहुत कॉम्प्लेक्स लगता है, इट डज नॉट मैटर। द फैक्ट दैट वी ऑल ऑफ अस आर सिटिंग हियर एंड लिसनिंग to the truth which says now we begin the study of yoga, that means all of the souls present here today are now ready to move on the path of yoga towards enlightenment. There is no question and no doubt about it. All the disciples of a great master are handpicked by the master. Only when he feels that the disciple is ready, that he hands over a precious and priceless, timeless teaching to the disciples. So glory to the Guru and glory to his disciples that we all together have been gifted by the grace of God and the Gurus this epic scripture to unfold, to understand, to apply in our life so that we become Jivan Muktas in this lifetime. So with that thought, my dear friends, we shall end today's class and let us share the power of these teachings with all souls everywhere. Divine Mother, thou art omnipresent. Thou art in all thy children. Manifest thy healing presence in all bodies, all minds, and all souls. great gurus, Divine Mother. May thy love shine forever on the sanctuary of our devotion, and may we be able to awaken thy love in all hearts. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Jai Guru to all. So if anybody has any question or thought, comments, now is the time. वाओ, सब चित्त वृत्ति निरोध में जा चुके हैं. कोई वृत्ति है ही नहीं. तो बहुत ही अच्छी बात है. Okay, that's really nice.
Lovely sharing. And I think when we dive deep more, I think we'll get to know more. And thanks for awesome sharing. I know that a lot of effort goes in, and you're going very deep, and it'll be very nice going through all the classes. Thank you so much, Om Guru.
Thank you, everybody. Jai Guru. Okay, friends, see you next Thursday. Joy to all of you.